Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Monday, the 21st of October 2024, the year of 1 million transactions per second or more. Experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a little flutter in private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's see what we got today. Check this out. So we've got some more epic threads here from CSW. Starting off here saying all those who support and extending the original version of Bitcoin won database rights or own database rights. We'll just see what's going on there. This one where he's saying a Bird and Bird LLP are acting inappropriately by misrepresenting the service of the new claim. Then we've got some other great posts here from Truth Machine, from Crypto Tweaks. This cracked me up. And then we'll just have a quick look at the figures if you haven't seen them for a while. See what's going on. Here we go, when we get to that. Yeah, it looks interesting actually. And that'll be the end of the show. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the terror node, you'll surely see.
Alright then, here we go. So Craig has stated here, all those who support and extending the original version of Bitcoin own database rights. The original miners in Bitcoin hold database rights because they directly contributed to the creation and extension of the Bitcoin blockchain. To understand this, we need to break down how UK law handles database rights and how those miners fit into it. In the UK, database rights come from the Database Directive, which was adopted into UK law through the Copyright and Rights in Databases Regulations 1997. These laws protect the people who invest significant time, money or effort into creating or maintaining a database. A database, legally speaking, is any organised collection of data that can be accessed and managed. The Bitcoin blockchain as a digital ledger storing transaction records falls within this definition. Now, what does this have to do with miners? The early Bitcoin miners, those who ran full nodes and created blocks, didn't just participate in the system by pressing a button. Being a miner, does not make you Satoshi, but these entities were integral to expanding the blockchain, adding new blocks to the database, verifying transactions, and ensuring everything followed the original rules laid out in Satoshi Nakamoto's protocol. In legal terms, these miners were not merely observers, they were active participants who made substantial contributions to maintaining and growing the database. The law on database rights protects those who invest in the creation or management of databases. In Bitcoin, it was Satoshi Nakamoto alone who created the database. The miners who followed the original protocol by contributing blocks before the network scaled and changed in structure also invested significantly in the system's success. Their investment wasn't just financial, it was also technical and computational, as they kept the system running and secure. Take the case of British horse racing board versus William Hill 2004, where the court ruled that people who invest resources in compiling or maintaining a database have a right to control how the database is used. The early Bitcoin miners were doing exactly this. They were helping to compile and maintain the blockchain while adding new blocks and verifying transactions. Without them, the Bitcoin blockchain would not have been able to grow or continue functioning. This simple principle applies. Here, they should hold rights over the database they helped create. In legal terms, this concept is backed by something called sui generis, database rights. This special type of right was designed to protect those who make substantial investments in obtaining, verifying, or presenting data, which fits exactly with what these miners did. Each time they added a new block to the Bitcoin blockchain, they weren't just running hardware, they were verifying and presenting new data, ensuring the blockchain stayed secure and consistent with Satoshi's original vision. It's also important to note that not everyone involved in Bitcoin at the time qualifies for these database rights. People who simply provided hashing power to mining pools, didn't create blocks or run nodes, were making the same kind of direct investment in the database itself. Under English law, only those who actively created blocks and participated in the verification of transactions can claim these rights, because they were the ones contributing to the creation and maintenance of the blockchain as a database. All right, and it continues here. A key case to reference is Football Dataco versus Sport Trader 2013, where the court reaffirmed that database rights extend to those who systematically verify and present data. This is exactly what the original miners were doing. They were following the systematic process outlined in Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, adding verified transactions to the blockchain. By doing so, they were expanding the database and making it more valuable. In summary, under UK law, the original miners who created blocks in the early Bitcoin network have database rights because they invested significant efforts in building and maintaining the blockchain. They were not passive participants. They were essential to the system's growth and integrity. By following the original protocol and contributing blocks, they helped shape the Bitcoin blockchain into what it's become. This is why they have legitimate rights to the database, not just Satoshi Nakamoto alone. The law recognizes that those who make significant contributions to a database deserve legal protection for their investment, and this applies directly to the miners who played an active role in Bitcoin's early development. While the original miners hold database rights due to their investment in the system, these rights are not absolute. Unlike Satoshi, who created the initial system and established its framework, the miners' rights are conditional and based on terms laid out in the original protocol. Interesting. Miners have the right to continue within the system, but this right is contingent upon their adherence to the original rules. The doctrine of promissory estoppel provides a critical lens through which we can understand the relationship between Satoshi, the miners, and immutability of the protocol. Promissory estoppel, a principle in English contract law, arises when a party makes a promise upon which others rely, and it would be inequitable to allow the promiser to later go back on the promise. In this case, Satoshi Nakamoto's declaration that Bitcoin is set in stone can be seen as a binding promise. This statement sets a clear expectation the protocol should remain fixed, and those participating in the system have a reasonable right to expect that the rules will not change. The promise of immutability means that miners and other participants are not simply bound by their contributions, but have the right to rely on the fact that the system will remain stable, and they can defend its original structure against any proposed changes. The concept of promissory estoppel was developed in Central London Property Trust Limited versus High Trees House Limited, 1947, where it was ruled that a promisor cannot go back on a promise if the other party has relied on it to their detriment. Here, Satoshi's statement regarding Bitcoin being set in stone functions as such a promise. The miners, in relying on the assurance, have continued to build the system and extend the database. By any attempt by Satoshi or others to alter the core rules of Bitcoin would be subject to estoppel, as miners have invested time, effort, and resource based on the belief that the protocol will not change. It's important to note that this reliance is not blind loyalty, but a legal safeguard that ensures those who uphold the original protocol are protected. The miners' database rights therefore include the right to insist that the system remain true to its original design, as long as they adhere to the protocol. They have a vested right to continue extending the database, secure in the knowledge that the foundational rules cannot be arbitrarily altered. Furthermore, the miners are not just passive beneficiaries of this promise. They are active stewards of the system, bound by the same estoppel as Satoshi. In Hughes versus Metropolitan Railway Co. 1877, 2 App Cas 439, the principle was further solidified that when a party behaves in a way that leads another to act in reliance on their conduct, they cannot later go back on that implied promise. This applies to anyone who takes up the mantle of maintaining the system, whether it's Satoshi or another participant. Those who engage in the maintenance of the blockchain are legally bound to uphold the original rules, ensuring that no unilateral changes can occur. In other words, those who now participate in Bitcoin are held to the original agreement that the system should not be modified. The miner's right to defend the protocol is legally enforceable, and any attempt to alter the database or change the protocol would not only breach the principle of immutability, but also infringe upon the legal rights of those upholding the system. This right to resist changes is not just a moral stance, it's a legal defensible position under promissory estoppel. Satoshi or any other party cannot alter the protocol because miners and other participants have relied on the promise for a fixed system, building and extending the database on that understanding. While Satoshi may have initiated the system and thus holds foundational rights to the original database, the miner's rights are derived from their adherence to the original protocol and the promise of immutability. Promissory estoppel binds all parties to uphold the system as it was originally designed, giving miners the right to not only continue, but also to protect the database from changes. The system's fixed nature, as promised by Satoshi, means that any effort to change the protocol would not only violate the promise, but infringe upon the legal rights of those who have contributed to and maintain the blockchain under those original terms. This statement in my POC, that's something or P of C, does not say that I claim to have created the entire database. Instead, it emphasizes my role in maintaining and extending it. I developed software through my companies and actively mined Bitcoin. My tax returns provide clear evidence of this work. The database rights therefore do not apply solely to me, they apply to every miner who contributed to building and maintaining the blockchain. The law recognizes the efforts of all those involved in the development, maintenance, and extension of the database, ensuring that every miner who followed the original protocol and created blocks holds rights to the system. Interesting. Infringement of database rights 245. The Bitcoin blockchain and its associated data structure constitute a database within the meaning of the Database Directive and UK database law. The database right is held by Dr. Wright. Oh, where is this? Who has made significant investments in the development, maintenance, and extension of the original database. This includes efforts to ensure that the blockchain remains consistent with the principles set out in the white paper and the original software protocol. Great stuff. I am claiming this right not as Satoshi, but as someone who invested significantly in the system. This is fundamentally different from any identity claim. It is a legal position based on my contributions to the development, maintenance, and extension of the Bitcoin blockchain. This ties directly into the Champagne case, where every miner, every person who developed the original Bitcoin code and adhered to the original protocol, has the right to enforce and protect it. It is not about who someone is, but what they have invested and contributed to the system's growth and integrity. This right extends to all those who maintain the original vision and protocol of Bitcoin. These rights are founded on the initial promissory estoppel created by Satoshi Nakamoto, who made a clear and binding promise where he stated that the protocol was set in stone. This statement establishes a framework where those who invested in and adhered to the original system could rely on immutability of the protocol. In legal terms, Satoshi's offer of the system came with implicit structural terms. By creating Bitcoin and inviting participants to join under these set rules, Satoshi effectively entered into a contract with the network's users. Every miner and developer who contributed based on the understanding did so with the reasonable expectation that the protocol would not change. These rights therefore stem not from identity but from the enforceable contract terms that Satoshi established, ensuring that those who upheld the original system have the legal right to continue doing so and to protect the protocol from being altered. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And looks like I could have read those threads again. Brilliant. Loving that. Right, so let's get on with this one then. Are there any threads here? Maybe not. Let's just see. So Craig has put here, Bird & Bird LLP are acting inappropriately by misrepresenting the service of the new claim. They have falsely claimed that the service has not been properly effected on Square Up Europe Limited and BTC Core, despite it being complete in accordance with Court Procedure Rules 6.3. Their assertion that service was not valid is an intentional distortion of the facts, aimed at delaying the proceedings and evading liability. They have also issued improper threats of contempt of court. These threats are baseless, as the injunction issued by Mr. Justice Miller pertains specifically to identity-related claims, not to the Champagne claim. By conflating two separate legal matters, Bird & Bird are attempting to intimidate with threats of contempt that have no foundation under CPR 81.4, which requires a clear breach before such threats can be justified. Additionally, Bird & Bird are misusing the legal process by attempting to link the Champagne claim to the identity case previously adjudicated. The issues in the Champagne claim are entirely distinct and have no bearing on the identity litigation. By trying to stretch the scope of the previous case, they're engaging in procedural abuse as defined in Arrow Nominees Inc. versus Black Ledge 2000 and EWCA Civi 200. This tactic is a transparent attempt to suppress a valid legal claim. He continues, Arrow Nominees Inc. versus Blackledge is a key case on the abuse of process. In this case, the court held that using legal procedures improperly, such as to harass or oppress another party, constitutes as an abuse of process. The ruling establishes that when a party misuses the legal system to delay, obstruct, or relitigate issues unnecessarily, it can be struck out or sanctioned. In the context of my situation, Bird & Bird's attempt to link the Champagne claim to previous identity-related litigation could be seen as a similar abuse of process. They are using improper legal tactics to obstruct or frustrate a legitimate claim that could fall under the abuse identified in Arrow Nominees. Courts do not tolerate such behaviour, and many impose sanctions, including costs, orders, or even striking out aspects of the defence if it is deemed to be in bad faith. I mean, that's all dependent on the courts actually being legitimate, and they've all been corrupted over the years. So, yeah, let's hope it goes all right. What's this in relation to Satoshis Amos? He said here. He said, Satoshis Amos, in his work, The Bitcoin Standard, perpetuates a series of fallacies and misconceptions that undermine the very essence of sound monetary principles. His reliance on the misconstrued narrative of yapstones exemplifies a superficial grasp of monetary history. The mythologized account of these stones as a primitive form of currency has been debunked by thorough historical scrutiny, revealing that their usage does not align with the characteristics of a reliable and objective medium of exchange. Furthermore, Amos fails to present Bitcoin in its true light. He venerates it as a panacea for economic maladies, yet neglects its inherent capacity to facilitate global commerce effectively. A monetary system that cannot accommodate the scale and complexity of international trade is ill-suited to serve as the backbone for a thriving capitalist society. From the perspective I have long advocated, money must be a tangible representation of actual value, a medium that embodies the productive output of rational individuals. Gold, for instance, has historically fulfilled this role, due to its intrinsic properties and universal acceptance. Bitcoin, devoid of physical substance and tethered to a volatile digital framework, does not meet the stringent criteria for a sound and objective monetary standard. I can't remember. Satoshis Amos is Amos's endorsement of BTC as Bitcoin overlooks the paramount importance of a currency grounded in reality and reason. By promising a system susceptible to extreme fluctuations and lacking a concrete foundation, he inadvertently champions a mechanism that could destabilize the very fabric of free market exchange. The prosperity of global commerce hinges on a stable, reliable medium, qualities that BTC conspicuously lacks. It is a system that cannot handle even low levels of scale that changes frequently to satisfy the whims of developers. In essence, the regurgitation of such myths and the promotion of impractical monetary systems divert attention from the fundamental principles that enable wealth creation and the human progress. A steadfast adherence to objective value and rational self-interest is indispensable. It is through a reason, not through a lure of digital illusion, that mankind will achieve enduring prosperity. What a fantastic statement that is. Fantastic statement. Yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, chuffed to bits with that. Right, let's go on to Truth Machine here. So he said, someone break the news to these kids from Uganda. They're too poor to be the children of BTC, and they also too poor to run a full node. And this was based on Samson Mao's comment back on the 6th of October 2016, where he said, Bitcoin isn't for people that live on less than $2 a day. He said, you're imagining someone with your knowledge and background that is poor. So again, yeah, I mean, it's outrageous. It's discriminatory. Poor people can't use it. You know, where have you seen that before? And Luke Dash Jr. said here on the 22nd of March 2019, there's no way to block Light Wallet, or we probably would. SPV proved to be unworkable. If people are too poor for a full node, then they just can't use Bitcoin. I mean, absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And then they've got these poor kids here. Listen to this. I mean, this is literally brainwashing on an epic scale here. Look at this. Let's have a listen.
What I know about Bitcoin plus a process called mining, and miners use powerful computers.
We are the children of Bitcoin. We are the first nation to come. Come and join us and support us. We are the children able to you.
I'm not here. What I know about Bitcoin is made up of 100 million sats.
We are the children of Bitcoin. We are the first nation to come. Come and join us and support us. We are the children able to you.
I'm Sharpwest Lydia. What I know about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the fastest for both goods and services.
We are the children of Bitcoin. We are the first nation to come.
What I know about
Unbelievable. Like, because we know they're talking about BTC. They can't even afford to purchase BTC, let alone get a bit of it. You know, and you can't send it, can't receive it. I mean, this is literally just pure brainwashing. It is unbelievable propaganda that we're watching there. Absolutely shocking. This was Crypto Tweaks commenting on CSW's post here when he said, holy shit, BTC miners that have gone bankrupt can now take legal action against BTC Core Stroke Blockstream in their assertion that BTC is Bitcoin. BTC failure to scale on chain deprives miners of their transaction fee profits. Yeah, and he's right. Absolutely, that is what's going on. Brilliant. Right, we're going for 22 minutes already. We'll just wrap it up in a second. Exactly this. I mean, yeah. So this anonymous patriot said here, we went from 15 days to slow the spread to you're fired if you don't get the jab to your bank accounts are frozen if you protest against us. Somehow we're still the conspiracy theorists. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, absolutely outrageous what's gone on. Jeepers. Quite scary, actually, when you think about it. Alright, so just a quick look at this chart, see what's going on here. Over the past few days, from October 13th to October 21st, like I said, we had a few jumps in the price there. I think this was when CSW's 911 billion pound suit started getting traction. So I've had a few pops in the price there. It's been going up and down. Then it's just steadying along there. Very good. Alright. Price in the top left corner of pre saying 50.04, so that's up from around sort of hovering around sort of 43, 45, I guess. Right, there we go. We'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. So as ever, if you enjoy these updates, please ding your donation for your appreciation to either Satoshi@Sembi.com, Handcash.io, Simply.cash, Relasia.com, Rockwallet.me or Senti.ch. We'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.